Hello, welcome everyone. Thanks so much for your time. My name is Phong Lee. I'm the president and CFO of MicroStrategy, and I want to introduce you to the AI and machine learning track of the Fintech conference. You all know what's happening from a macroeconomic perspective and what's happening in the banking industry. Lower interest rates, changes, quantitative easing by governments all around the world, higher short-term loan activity, and what is happening today may change in 3 months, may change in 6 months, and if anything, you probably all realize that from an analytics and an AI perspective, probably the most important thing is to have agility right now. MicroStrategy is the largest independent publicly traded BI company in the world. I have the great pleasure of, getting to talk to financial services customers and really broadly customers of MicroStrategy all around the world. We primarily serve Fortune 500s and Global 2000, so I get quite a bit of a sense myself, our customers, our employees, what's happening in the space. And two, as a CFO, I also am a buyer of banking services, and so have quite a, as you can probably imagine, high demand needs, and we're doing a lot from a capital structure perspective at MicroStrategy that is pretty exciting too. So I want to share in sort of those two roles a few things that I'm seeing happening in the AI and ML space right now, and I'll speak specifically more about what it takes for us to be successful as data analysts and data experts in the fintech space around AI, not directly in it. What I've heard from a lot of folks is they're excited, about artificial intelligence, machine learning, bots, etc. But that we're still in the space, maybe, you could compare it to 20 years ago with analytics, where people were interested in AI for the sake of AI or analytics for the sake of analytics. And there is becoming a bit of maybe lack of interest in just the subject itself and more interest in what the business outcome is, right? What is the action you'll take with the data? What is the action you'll take with the machine learning algorithm? What is the end benefit to the organization? And especially in a time when many companies, especially in financial services, are trying to, in some cases, whittle down budgets, be very specific and short-term oriented. The key here is you need to make sure that whatever algorithms and whatever software you put in place is actionable, one, and it's also pervasive. Right. The other thing that I'm hearing a lot is we need to have things that impact thousands of employees, not dozens of employees. So in the past, it might be someone wrote an algorithm that was useful for a set of data scientists, maybe a few dozen people, a set of analysts, maybe a few hundred people. But now they're looking for something that's going to impact 20, 30, 40, 50% of employees. And I think that's a big thing to think about is whatever we put together in the AI and ML world, that it impact as many employees as possible and makes their decision-making better, right? And so to sort of bridge that gap from a data scientist to an analyst to an end user, the other trend here is making sure that you have data scientists who are really good business, have a great business understanding, are really good storytellers too, who really truly understand the business, can sell what they're putting together. And then related to that, making sure then that you have tools that you can embed your algorithms in and make them pervasive, make them easy to use, and make them actionable, right? And when you think about tools that do that, right? So you need to have the algorithm, you need to have the finding, but then you need to embed it into something that people can utilize. And this is where a lot of this breaks down, right? Like, oh, I need to invest 6 months or 12 months or millions of dollars, right? Upgrading an ERP system or upgrading a customer care system. And so things that can help there, right? Utilize things like mobility, right? Like iPad, iPhone, Android devices as tools that trigger actions. And then on the MicroStrategy side, we've invented something called hyperintelligence, which is an action-based tool that provides insights that can be fed from an AI engine, if you will, and allows people to make quick decisions right on top of existing tools. So that's one piece, this sort of idea that AI and ML need to be really sitting on top of modern tools or embedded into modern tools to be able to create actionable outcomes for as many users as possible. The second piece that I'll go into is you really need to make sure that you have a set of data analytics and business intelligence and data warehouse systems that are open and flexible, right? What is your AI engine of choice today may change in 6 months, may change in a year. The technology ecosystem is evolving extremely fast, right? You know, like names that you heard of 2 years ago that were sort of the popular AI tool no longer exist or have been overtaken by a new name, right? And as this space from a software perspective plays out in the next 5 to 10 years, a winner or a set of winners will prevail, but likely they're not the current software systems that you're working with. And so what do you need to accommodate that, right? You need to have a BI tool, a data warehouse tool, an N set of CRM, ERP tools, HR tools, whatever you're embedding this information into for action that are open, right? You really want to have a set of open APIs. You want to have the ability to embed your AI engines into whatever your end tool is. And so in that particular case, you may want to even avoid a full software stack, right? Avoid going with a Microsoft only stack that works best with Microsoft's end state AI tool, or a Force.com only stack, or an Oracle only stack, and invest in independent systems and tools. And of course, in that case, that is sort of has always been MicroStrategy's view from a long time ago, 30 years ago, which is independent software systems matter in this space, especially when you're still deciding what your end state tool is. The third piece that I want to talk about, so I talked about the importance of sort of having modern systems that lead to end state actions. And I talked about having open systems that can integrate quickly with whatever AI machine learning tools you have in place. The third piece, and this is one that often is the first thing people think about, right, is making sure that you have data that can be trusted, right, and robust enterprise security associated with that. So a true enterprise-grade platform for data and tools that you have in place. It goes without saying, but you really want to, whatever, garbage in, garbage out, right? Like if you put in bad data, it doesn't matter how good your AI engine is, the recommendation that comes out will not necessarily be reliable or great. And so in that particular case, you want to have the ability to certify source system data, right? You do want to have a single source of the truth. You don't want to have pervasive data proliferation. And you want to have a very strong enterprise security model too, at your data warehouse or your BI layer that sort of feeds your AI engines. So those are the things that we've seen and we've heard, which is one, you really want to have a modern tool set that is easy to use, that can push your AI work out to as many users as possible. Second, you want to have an open set of systems that are flexible because your tool sets will change over time. And third, you really want to have enterprise grade trusted data certification and a robust enterprise security layer. So thoughts for you as you go into the next set of conversations. Really appreciate your time. Hopefully you find the panels and the discussions to be useful, and enjoy the rest of your day.